I have to ask you about this because there are far more Filipinos who are concerned about this new immigration order that effectively shut down the immigration services here in Manila. What exactly does that imply?
Well, thank you for asking, because I know that there's been massive confusion and concern about this latest development. First of all, it's not that we're closing immigration services. What's happening is the Philippines Office of U.S. Citizenship and Immigration Services agency is closing.
So it's confined to that.
Exactly.
Yes.
And the only reason why it's closing is many of the forms that are filed with USCIS are done online.
Yes.
So there's really no need to have an overseas presence. And in fact, I should also mention that decision is not just to close the Philippines office. USCIS is moving towards closing all of their overseas offices, and I think something like 30 overseas offices scattered throughout the world. So this does not affect in any way how we will continue to process immigrant visas for Filipino citizens.
People are afraid that this has to do with the Trump administration's policy restricting the entry of foreigners into the U.S.
There's been no change in how we process immigrant visas. The U.S. Embassy in the Philippines continues to be one of the 3 busiest visa issuance posts, both in terms of immigrant visas and non-immigrant visas. And I don't expect that to change at all. Now, that said, I mean, as you know, like other governments, our top priority is national security. So we are looking at ways to improve the screening process that we can actually be more secure, even as we accept tourists, businessmen, and others on non-immigrant visas, as well as people coming on immigrant visas.
But to be clear, the immigrant office particularly deals with people applying for permanent residency status or being petitioned by residents already in the United States, yes?
Right.
This does not apply to the common application for tourist visas and so on?
No, not at all. This USCIS office that has been here was focused just on facilitating paperwork for immigrant visas.
But it's supposed to discourage chain migration. It's supposed to give priority to merit-based migration. Is this correct?
No, USCIS's office closing is purely for administrative processing reasons.
So it has nothing to do with that. For example, there was a ban on agri and non-agri workers from the Philippines on workers' visas for them.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of concern based on inaccurate or partial information. First of all, I mean, there is, as you know, an ongoing discussion, debate in the United States on what is the ideal immigration system, right? As you know, the U.S. immigration system has based largely on family reunions. Other countries have focused more on merit. I mean, what type of people do we want? You know, do we want this kind of education, this kind of professional qualifications? So the discussion in the United States is, okay, is it time for us to rebalance things? I mean, we will, of course, continue to have family reunion immigration cases, but do we want to increase the numbers for merit-based immigration?
And
And I think
do you
that's a legitimate debate.